Hi, welcome this week to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
I'm Lauren.
And we have a great show for you today, all about thyroid.
Thyroid.
And what you can expect. And we thought it'd be fun to bring an actual patient on that's going to share her experience. She's had, quite a few issues and really struggled to get anybody to listen to her. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the important things is finding a team like we are here.
Yep.
Shameless plug, of course, but that'll listen to you, that won't look at the numbers, that will treat you as a patient, treat you as the symptoms, but get to the underlying cause. I think that's the most important thing.
Right. And it's interesting because probably most of the people maybe watching the show right now could possibly have a thyroid issue, because it seems like that's something that relates to so many different issues that we deal with all the time, and you just wouldn't know that would be the issue.
Yeah, people don't think about it. Tired, gaining weight, belly fat, hair falling out, constipated, headaches.
Yeah, and even like whenever I was competing and I was eating, like I was really aware of what I was eating, like consciously eating like very healthy things and all that good stuff. It was I got to a point like I woke up one day and I just had no energy at all, and I didn't know what the deal was. I was consistent with exercise and I was eating right and getting sleep, and I didn't know what the deal was, and I could hardly hold my head up, and so I went to the doctor and got some blood work done, and it ended up being my thyroid. Mm-hmm. And it was just off, and which I didn't know how it got that way, and it surprised me, and I was like, man, I'm the healthiest I've ever been, and I had a thyroid issue. So
yeah, it can creep up on you even if you think you're doing everything right.
Right.
So we're going to talk with Sarah about some reasons for that, and be right back here on The Naked Doctor.
I have osteoarthritis, and the arthritis medication that you get regularly will cause your kidney function to go down, and my kidney function had started going down, and so I knew I needed to do something different. I've been seeing Dr. Tammy for about 3 months, and she's been doing stem cells in my knees, and it's like a miracle. She absolutely hits it every time in the correct spot, and I am pain-free now, and I haven't been pain-free for about 10 years. I can go upstairs without pain. It's wonderful. And I send everybody I know to her because she's done such a wonderful job for me, and I just appreciate it so much.
Hi, welcome back to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
I'm Lauren.
And this is Sarah. She has an interesting story to share with us. And one of the things that Sarah was sharing with me before the show was how many people struggle with hormone issues. And the biggest one that she noticed was sleep. So I'm just going to let you tell your story a little bit and what your experience has been. And
Yeah. So I work full time for a corporate entity. And lots of coworkers. Conversation, you build up rapport with all of your colleagues, and there are a lot of people who don't sleep through the night, and if you're not sleeping through the night, it's an indicator, a red flag, something's wrong. And if it's chronic and you have to take melatonin or you have to take a sleeping pill to go to bed every night, that's an even worse indicator that something's out of whack and imbalanced. Mm-hmm. And you should pursue getting that resolved, because the way that your body heals itself, I mean, you drew on the board for me. First you have your melatonin, it's going to spike during the evening, and it's going to carry through the morning, and then your cortisol is going to spike during the daytime, and that's, your melatonin's repairing your brain and your neurotransmitters, and your cortisol is repairing the rest of you. And if you don't have the right balance of those and cycling through those each day, and your sleep is constantly interrupted, then you can't repair your body. You can't heal yourself.
And traditional medicine just kind of throws you in this box. You get 3 minutes with them. They're like, here's your sleeping pill. Or,
here's your Ambien. Enjoy your rest.
So at what point during, it's like a lot of people, I mean, even when you're younger, there are times that you may go through little stressful moments or whatever that you can't sleep. Like at what point did you realize, like, there's something up with me, like I need to get checked out?
Well, it's a chronic, repetitive pattern. Every night at 2:30 or 3 in the morning, I'm awake, alert enough, and composing emails in my head. That should be considered abnormal. It should be considered once in 3 months, probably not a big deal. But if it's pretty much every night,
how's that affecting your day?
Oh God, scattered brain,
brain fog.
lots of brain fog. Can't remember words. Simple things that you want to explain, you're like, there's a word for that.
It really decreases your productivity.
Yeah, suddenly the efficiency's out the door. Yeah,
so much. And then your ability to cope with stress as well in that intense environment is so depleted when you chronically don't sleep through the night.
It's just a spiraling downfall.
Oh, yeah.
Just to keep cycling into oblivion, essentially.
Yeah.
We were talking about hormones too, female hormones. Most people hear hormones and they think estrogen, and that's bad, but it affects, there's more than estrogen. There's so many hormones, including thyroid. I'm going to let you tell your story just a little bit about thyroid. But we were talking about what's normal with menstrual cycles, and I was kind of telling you that we don't know what's normal, because a lot of times we don't talk about that because it's kind of taboo. So there are people literally saturating tampons and pads and don't even know what's normal. So I thought that was interesting that you were talking about that little cup.
No, that was my sister-in-law, and I want to say that actually happened before I met you. She had mentioned that she was using a menstrual cup, and she said, "Oh, it's life-changing. You have to try one."
I never heard of it.
I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm content with what I've got, but okay, you say so. So I went out and I bought the one that she had recommended, and I tried it. And what I realized right off the bat, I could fill that sucker up in less than 12 hours.
Which is not normal.
That is not normal.
And everybody's
that is
probably
not
like,
normal.
Oh, is it not normal?
That is not normal. It is
I got
not
3 days
normal.
doing that.
No, that is not normal. And the cool thing about it is, as I've seen you, and we've kind of talked through the labs and seen where everything's at, and altered a few things and whatnot, that has dramatically improved. Those menstrual cups are meant, you put them in the morning when you wake up, when you know your period's coming, because you've been paying attention to all the signs, right?
Which is important. We talk about that too, to pay attention to your body, because as women, we don't often do that.
We're so busy.
Yeah, we're busy. We're caretakers. We got all this stuff. We can't stop.
Yeah.
I have so many patients that are like, I just can't take the time off to come to see you. I'm like, what's your life worth? But yeah, go ahead.
Right,
Sorry,
completely. And so you put it in the morning when you know that it's coming. It should carry you all the way until you get home at night. Go to the restroom before dinner, take it out, dump it, clean it off, reinsert, wash your hands, go about the rest of your being. You don't have to think about it till you wake up the next morning. You take it out, you dump it, clean up, everything's good. You go through your whole day, come back in the evening. So it's literally good for 12 hours. And as long as your hormones are healthy and you're balanced and your cycle's where it's supposed to be, you completely don't even have to touch it, but in the morning and in the evenings. And it is such a relief to, I can go work out. I don't have any spotting. Nothing leaks. It's amazing.
Yeah, most people wear tampons that are saturating them, not even the risk of toxic shock, which really does happen. But they don't even realize, because they're changing every 2 hours, and they have to have a pad to catch what doesn't, what's overabsorbed.
Right, it's true.
And it's such an easy fix. It's natural progesterone. You just use it like during part of your cycle. It's not birth control that's going to cause more problems and suppress all your hormones, but it's kind of natural.
Yeah, and the other really wonderful thing about being able, this sounds odd, so forgive me, but this is real female stuff, right? When you can collect your own menstrual cycle and see the actual liquid volume, instinctively something's off, or look, I'm getting better. And then when you dump it out, if there's fibroids, that's a sign something's off.
What would that look like?
Chunks.
And too much estrogen just causes
is that what causes
endometriosis, fibroids. And so many people, they go to traditional doctors and they're like, 2 options: birth control, surgery.
Yeah. And that's not solving the problem.
No,
because both of those have side effects.
I know, and just removing the uterus is not fixing anything.
Right.
Hormone problems are still there, and I experienced that myself. I had a hysterectomy. I didn't know anything about bioidentical hormones or the effects of my thyroid and insulin and all that, and so all that's, I think God does things for us, not to us, but all that was for me to be able to understand and help others.
So when it comes to thyroid and that problem with your too much estrogen, like how's the thyroid related to that issue with the menstrual cycle?
Yeah, you're probably the best one to answer that.
They compete for the same receptor sites. So I see so many times, almost everybody who is postmenopausal or perimenopausal, just those few years, which is moving further and further into the 30s and 40s, which our menstrual cycles are moving this way. Girls are having cycles like 8 and 9. So they compete for the same receptors. Almost every menopausal female has thyroid issues. Almost everyone who comes in has nodules on their thyroid and it may just be the population that comes to see me, the last resort. They haven't got answers anywhere else, but almost all of them have nodules on their thyroid, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we need to take a little break. So we're going to come back, and Sarah's going to talk about her thyroid journey. That's okay. So we'll be right back. Welcome back to Naked Doctor. We're here talking with Sarah today, and she's telling us a little bit. We've talked about some really weird things like menstrual cups and tampons.
They're not weird, they're very normal.
The taboo. Who else is talking about this stuff?
Nobody's
right?
going to share this with you.
Yeah, that's all we're talking about, so you can know. Yeah.
So Sarah, tell us about your thyroid issues. And we were just talking
Yeah.
about, especially perimenopausal and menopausal, it throws all the thyroid off from the receptors and stuff. So how did you know, and how did you seek help?
So, and I'm probably your abnormal patient. I do a lot of reading and I do a lot of research.
Which I love.
I know.
They get shut down, and patients get shut down in traditional medical practices because they don't have the time to absorb that information. And so they're always like, don't go on the internet. I'm like, go on the internet, learn all you can, and then have someone that you trust who can assimilate that and tell you what's filter it and tell you what's facts and what's not facts.
Yeah, that's been immense. Having you around has been immensely helpful for me because I have just enough knowledge to make myself dangerous, but not like weeding through what's important and what should I be looking for. I would say when I first met you, my background is nutrition. I am not a registered dietitian, but I'm a dietitian by training, and being told that you have an IgG response to gluten, you need to cut all gluten out. I was like, that's a healthy food group. It's part of the pyramid. So I had to take a while to really digest that, assimilate, and adhere to it. That was the tough one.
And thyroid and grains are huge.
Huge. It's massive.
Yeah, the gut's the gut absorption and all that.
I didn't realize gluten as well as alcohol both increase the space in your digestive tract lining for whole-on particles to float through. Yeah. And so, people would be more familiar with the NyQuil. The reason why the alcohol is in the NyQuil is so that the drugs get into your bloodstream faster. That's utilizing a leaky gut on purpose to shove medicine in when you feel sick. Gluten does the exact same thing to your digestive tract.
So you guys feel bloated and everything. And
so it enhances leaky gut. And then the other thing is, as I started to try to adhere to the diet, I ended up with migraines.
Which I call it an exchange program instead of elimination diet. It's so intimidating.
Well, and that's the what works for me because of the other things in my IgG list might not work for other people. Right. Everybody's going to be sensitive to different things.
And sometimes when people give up gluten, they have a sensitivity to corn or dairy or something else, and they don't feel better. And we also talked about bromides. I want you to talk about iodine
that was incredible. So I'm dealing with.
You said you would get migraines when you started?
I would get migraines because I was trying to adhere to the diet, and it wasn't until weeks later that I was listening to a Sanoviv iodine conference lecture, because yes, I am a nerd, and she's talking about bromine toxicity, that all of our breads and our pastas are processed with bromide. And in that process, you're absorbing bromide. Bromide literally locks up your iodine receptors. So as you stop eating gluten, all gluten-containing items, you are decreasing your bromide in your system. And some of that bromide starts coming off and getting flushed out through your kidneys. Well, to do that, you need salt. Chloride, specifically not the sodium, it's the chloride, but you can get there with the salt. And what I didn't know is when I started to have these migraines, what I should have done was taken more magnesium, taken more B6, and had some salt water, and it would have cleared up. Now I understand when I get one of those headaches, that's what I need to do.
What exactly is bromide?
It's a halide.
It's on the element chart.
Where does it come from?
Chemistry was my weakest.
Where does it come from? Like, how does it get?
It's utilized in the processing of the grains.
Okay, so all right.
We used to use iodine before World War II. Apparently, there's rumors as to whether or not they added it to grains to help stave off libido of the men going off to war. Which sounds kind of stupid, but apparently that's the rumor, at least.
Well, maybe was it because they didn't want them to get their wives pregnant before they left,
Well,
so that they wouldn't have to
the
go.
baby boom, did it?
Yeah. Nice try.
I mean, ultimately, it didn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're having fertility problems, that's really something to think about.
Yeah, that the gluten connection could be related to it. And then also the fact that we're attempting to be a lower sodium society and bring that stuff down. Well, if you've got high bromine levels and you're toxic and your body's trying to flush it out, it actually needs the chloride to be able to bind and flush it all the way
And I
out.
always recommend sea salt because it's got all those other minerals in it too. So table salt isn't the best solution.
It's probably not the best solution. So, I mean, in terms of the things that I was having trouble adhering to and really getting all the way through, that was a significant impact to my thyroid health. And then, gosh, I'm kind of blanking out now.
Well, like, what was your next step? And when you realized like that you had the issues and you went to Dr. Tammy and
it was mostly so Dr. Tammy was the one who said, hey, you need to take more magnesium, you need to take more B6 when you get these migraines. And so I was doing that, but adding the salt water in addition to those two really helped. Like, and it was 20 minutes gone.
Wow.
Migraine gone.
Oh.
Yeah. It's powerful. So if you have migraines, it's really powerful. But I'd also get food tested.
Yeah.
But you got to know why it is that you're
getting them.
And that's what everything's about, is the education. Because, and I'm not knocking, I am traditional medicine, but there's no education. It's just, here's your pill.
Pill for an ill.
So for you, how long did it take for you to? Was it just adjusting your diet before that helped with your thyroid, or what? How did you get to the ultimate healing?
Well, so I started with, because of what I was learning on the Santa Vive conference, lectures and things like that, I started to increase my iodine. Because knowing that I've got the thyroid situation going on, wanting to be able to be healthy, I want to make sure I'm getting enough. But I also want all the other supporting nutrients with it. I want the selenium. I need the vitamin A because I might not actually be uptaking any of this. I need the vitamin C. I need all of the Bs. I need the magnesium because all of them work together to bring out thyroid health. And so as I was working up my iodine, because iodine's displacing the bromide, that was when I started to have another surge of migraines. For me, it manifests itself in migraines. And of course, then now I know it's those three nutrients that I need to go supplement with. So.
And we're almost all deficient in iodine. It's so interesting because in Asian countries where they have a lot of seaweed and kelp, there's almost no thyroid disease, almost no fibrocystic breast disease or breast cancer. And there's your connection with menopause and estrogen, because same receptors. And it was really cool. You were just telling me the other day about how much iodine the breast needs to process.
Yeah, that they haven't actually completed any formalized studies. The FDA has to say, okay, this organ here can take upwards of this much. But they do know that the breast can absorb between 2 and 3 milligrams of iodine per day, just the breasts alone. And that is amazing. Your skin needs iodine. If you have fistular acne, iodine will probably clean that up.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get. I mean, it's just a supplement over the counter. But I do recommend that people get tested, because if the thyroid's sick and it's overworked, or your immune system is overworked, or your other hormones are out of balance, sometimes taking iodine may actually make you feel worse.
Well, and you don't ever want to take it all by itself. Every bit of research that I've done, you never take iodine all by itself in high doses. You need to make sure you're balancing it with all of the other cofactors so that you actually can heal, as opposed to create an issue. I have talked to a lot of friends back home on the West Coast that have said, "Oh, I've got an iodine allergy. I can't use it. I've been told I have an allergy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But you ask them, okay, well, what's your allergy symptoms? And they'll come back and say, well, I get these migraines, and then I change color, and I have like all these really those are all signs of bromide.
Wheezing, allergies,
toxicity.
Yeah. Ask
You're
questions,
detoxing.
Right? It's a question, girl.
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to ask too, one of the things that was on my food sensitivity testing was that I was sensitive to was kelp, which I noticed in the supplements, it'll say iodine from kelp.
Yeah.
Is that something that I should?
Well, that's a natural iodine versus like when you have the iodine allergy, like anaphylactic shock, that's actually, there's another chemical that's in those X-ray dyes, or in betadine, that's a different chemical, iodide. So yes, you can have the iodide allergy, but the iodine is the important thing.
Yeah.
But specific to like the kelp sensitivity, would there be a reason I shouldn't take iodine from kelp, since kelp is on my food sensitivity list?
Yeah, I probably would.
I would avoid that kind because you can get iodine without kelp.
Okay.
You totally can. Because in the Japanese diet, it's also all of the like octopus, fish. They eat a lot of little tiny baby fish.
Like
There's
calamari?
all kinds of stuff that they eat that are, it's all sea-based.
It's all
calamari?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And in Japan, on average, they were getting 12.5 milligrams of iodine in their diet per day. So pregnant woman eating 12.5 milligrams, full milligrams. Our RDA is like 150 micrograms.
Yeah, it doesn't even touch it.
It's not anywhere even remotely close. It's thousands of times smaller. And the fact that in Japan, they have very little thyroid disease at all. And babies are born very healthfully with 12.5 milligrams on a daily basis.
And we're all walking around with goiters. Seriously, like every female that comes in, they've got nodules. And they kind of realized that it was iodine deficiency. That's why they started putting the salt after they took the,
took it out of the bread, out of the wheat.
Yeah, the way it's processed. And so that's where they developed those guidelines. But those FDA guidelines were established like 40 years ago. That doesn't apply to us today, and all the hormones we're exposed to.
Yeah.
And kids started getting goiters, so that's when they put it in the salt. So none of it makes sense.
So what's interesting too is that whenever you get pregnant, one of the things that you hear is you're not supposed to eat like fish type of
because
certain
it's
tuna
contaminants.
because of the mercury contamination.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought it was just kind of interesting because like you're talking about how they eat all fish and sea-based things, and it's like that's kind of something like that I don't know, like when I was
They probably
pregnant.
catch it like because they shop daily there, whereas we shop for a week. So we have this processed fish, and it's like farm-raised fish that it doesn't even have the healthy nutrients, and then it's got absorbed.
I didn't know
all
if it
that
was
bad
another way for the government to control it.
No, not in
keep
that
us
particular
deficient.
instance. So for pregnant women, they recommend you have no more than one serving of tuna per week while you're pregnant. And if you do have it, there's a difference in types of tuna. So if you buy canned tuna, the older the fish, the larger the muscle. The older the fish, the potential for higher mercury. So you want to get the chunk light, not the other.
No.
Chunk light's a little bit safer. So because it's a younger, newer fish, it hasn't been swimming in the ocean so long, less time to absorb the mercury.
Gotcha.
But salmon is probably the better option if you're going to go with fish because it's more heart healthy.
Cool.
Absolutely. One thing I find too is that I do things a little differently with thyroid testing, because if you are tired, your hair's falling out, you're constipated, you're gaining weight, you by definition have a thyroid issue. So I am a little bit more, not aggressive, but assertive with treating not numbers, but the thyroid. So if we don't have time today, I'll probably do another segment maybe next week on thyroid meds, but sometimes I'll use low-dose natural thyroid just to give the thyroid a break,
Support.
and let it start working on its own. If they're changing their dietary habits and we talked about immune system and supporting their immune system, a lot of times that will correct the thyroid, because people are told they have to be on thyroid meds the rest of their life, and they just keep checking one parameter on the thyroid lab test, and people just, and they need more and more and more of the thyroid meds, and so it just really is kind of a crazy game.
I do feel like the supplementation that I'm doing the change in diet that I'm doing, taking the medications you've prescribed has helped immensely. The progress is slow, but it's steady, and I feel like it is getting a lot better.
Not a quick fix, not just a pill.
It's not just a pill for an ill in this case. It's definitely. I'm noticing in my energy levels. I'm noticing in better sleep at night. I'm noticing in better cycles.
And your hair is fabulous.
It's a little crazy weather today, so it's
love your hair.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah, for being here today.
Yeah, thanks so much.
It's been fabulous. You're so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Please come back sometime. I know you have a busy schedule, but glad to have you.
We'll have you as a special guest here and there on the show, to talk about your progress and everything, and just talk about all the knowledge, Yep.
All right, we'll be right back with the Naked Doctor. Hi, welcome back to the Naked Doctor. We've had a great show today. It was fabulous. We had a little fun. We talked about some serious stuff as well. And we just got asked the other day, what's the Naked Doctor about? And it's the naked truth about health, lifestyle, and wellness. So no Naked Doctor here, but
we just expose the naked truth about life. We bring you all of the facts behind the false perception of reality. And
I love your accent. That's great.
Sorry, it comes out sometimes. We give you the real,
Your past life, British girl.
Yeah, I think it was a little British boy, but yes.
So find us on our YouTube channel. Any shows that you miss, you can always go there. I think it's under Tammy Tucker, isn't it? Or
Something like that.
Doctor?
Tammy Tucker.
Dr. Tammy Tucker. Our Facebook page, The Naked Doctor Show. You got an Instagram. I'm kind of old school. Instagram's not Naked Doctor.
I'm new school.
Naked Doctor? Is that what it's called?
Yes, it's called it's at The Naked Doctor or The Naked Doctor Show, but it's the same handle as that we have on Facebook. So our shows will be on Facebook. We'll have some interactive fun photos and just kind of behind the scenes stuff on Instagram and like you said, YouTube and
follow us, share, please. I'm sure you know somebody who's having hormone problems, thyroid problems, and you might just save their life. I mean, some of this stuff we kind of downplay it, but some of this can be life-threatening, so pretty serious. So go to our website if you want, the I never said that right. HealingArtCenters.com, and you can learn more about us and come see us if you're having any of those symptoms. We'd love to help and love to listen.
And this is part 1 today of the thyroid show.
Yeah.
Next week
we ran out of time for information, so I'm going to give a whole lot of facts next week.
Yep, thyroid show part 2 next week.
Part 2.
Tune in.
Love you all. Have a fabulous, blessed week, and we'll see you back here next week.
Thanks for watching.